I'm sorry. I can see a few of you.
Hi, hello.
Ciao Teresa.
Hello, I was not hearing, so okay,
So
now
now it works now. Great. Oh, all of you, great. I'm very happy. It's not as easy as it looks like. We still have to fix the connection via YouTube, but we should be able to do it very soon. And then, as we are a number that exceeds, as Chiara was explaining to you in an email, we are beyond, above. Ok,
È partito su YouTube, vi avviso.
Ok, allora Chiara, tu come segreteria.
Come vado? Sì.
Ok, ti spello io? No, sei tu. Ok. Okay, only 10 of us can be speaking at the same time. When the people who cannot speak want to intervene, I have to withdraw one of the former speaker and include the other one. So it is a little bit more complicated, but it's one of the very few mechanisms for free of charge that we had for this conference call. So if it works that you hear me, we can start, and then I give you one by one the possibility to speak. Can any one of you confirm that you are there, that you hear?
yes, it's everything okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Grazie.
Yes.
Great.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for responding to our call this time. I guess this time I'm glad to leave to Andrea Stocchiero the floor by Ceschi. The agenda for the meeting should be the more concrete part is that as not every one of you responded to our request to specify which working package you would like to focus on, more than one, but still probably not every one of them. One question is, can you please specify where you want to work, in which working package, and if you already have in mind which you would prefer as a leader, to leading as working package leader, let us know. Second, of course, we should enter more in detail of our first very draft, and possibly also on the specific working packages you might have comments about. The end of the conference should be that we go out of here with at least 8 groups in charge of writing the first draft for the next meeting of the working package. They are leaders. And therefore, by the end of January, we have in a more advanced stage our concept and a first draft of each working packages. And then possibly in February we'll be in a more advanced stage as well. So I leave the floor to Andrea, and then to direct the meeting with you while we'll still stand by here.
Well, hello to everybody. And in reality, Luisa has just opened our conversation. So, as she said, our points are first of all, a short overview of the methodology that we are choosing for this project. In the last meeting that we had, all of you agreed on the on one kind of methodology that is a multi-level governance approach. And if you have other ideas, other suggestions, please, you can take the floor. And the second point, the most important point, is about the work packages. We have proposed a structure of the different work packages. You agreed about the structure, but obviously, if you have other ideas, please tell us what you are thinking of. And about the work packages, we have to know what are your competencies, in which work packages you want to participate, and most important, which work package you want to eventually be the leader, the coordinator of the work package. And the third point is the next steps of our work in filling, in redacting the proposal of this project. So about the methodology, someone of you have suggestions to improve the methodology. Other ideas want to participate in writing the methodology approach for the proposal. Someone of you have some words to say? Nothing is asking for the word. So, well, in this case, we have the first point about the methodology that all we agreed about. But do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Teresa, Jorg, hello, Jorg. This is the first time that we participate in our meeting. So please, if you want to present yourself to the other members of our meeting, because I know about you from my colleague Battistina, but it's important that you can present yourself in your university. So please,
Yes.
take you the word now.
Does my microphone work? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Andrea. A couple of words about myself. I'm at the Department of Geography and Environment at the University of Geneva. By background, I'm a political scientist who's worked in international relations and much in regional and transnational relations. We currently have a project supported by the Swiss National Science Foundation that focuses specifically on macro-regional strategies, where we have the 3 case studies of the Danube, the Baltic, and the Adriatic Ionian. And as you know, Battistina works on the Adriatic Ionian. We also have in our team Erik Glörsen, who has done a lot of work on territorial cohesion, territorial development, EU regional policy, partly on mountain regions like the rest of us, but also more generally on macro-regional strategies. He's also, in addition to being at the University of Geneva with his company Spatial Foresight, where they do a lot of this kind of work. So I would say as a first thing that we would be working as a team, and we have not coordinated internally who exactly would be in charge of what, but in terms of the competences that we can bring to the table, it ranges from cultural and political geography to international relations. The work package that we're particularly interested in is the macro-regional strategies, because we do have currently this project ongoing, and that's where we see our main competences are. I don't know if you want me to say anything about the methods or the other points that you brought up in the agenda. I'd be happy to, but I don't want to capitalize on the time since everybody is here.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jorg, for your presentation. You I know that you are very interested and you are working on the macro-regional strategies, so you know that in our work packages there is a specific work package on this topic.
Yes.
And if there are other who want to take the floor and say something, otherwise, you know that the first point is about the methodology.
Yes.
So if you want, Jörg, you can continue to give us some suggestions about the approach that we are using about.
Maybe just a couple of points. I find the multi-level governance perspective or theory or framework very suitable for the project. I think it's the right approach. One question I have is if it is the framework that can cover all aspects of the project. I'm thinking here, for instance, about the geostrategic role of the US and Turkey. Can the MLG framework also cover that? Or do we have to propose maybe a set of theoretical frameworks in order to be able to cover all aspects of the project? As far as the macro-regional strategy is concerned, the MLG framework, of course, is extremely pertinent. A second point that I would maybe raise is one that you will know better how relevant it is, but if we are competing with other consortia, then I would think that conceptual innovation might be an important point. And so I wonder, in addition to incorporating questions of conditionality, how else we can make our MLG approach look innovative, because it is based on a fairly standard body of work in European integration work that could possibly be complemented, but that I suppose every other consortium will also use, including, from what I hear, I think there's a consortium around Ian Bache who will probably be using that as well. One suggestion, maybe, and I don't know if you know of this. There's an approach coming out of critical political economy around the concept of regulatory regionalism that also looks at dynamics similar to Europeanization that has to do with multi-level governance. The main argument there is that regional developments such as macro-regional strategies and other supranational phenomena are really manifesting on the inside of the state. So new regional spaces are created through a reconfiguration of actors in domestic space. And I think this is something that comes out of the multi-level governance network as well, in terms of the policy networks that emerge and the ways in which subnational actors, for instance, participate in those policy networks. It's something that is complementary to multi-level governance, but could possibly add an innovative angle that could set this project a little bit apart from others that may use the standard MLG approach. So off the top of my head, these are the two main comments that I have. And I'd be curious to hear what others think.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jörg. And yes, I think that it's important to be innovative. In the last meeting that we had, we spoke about the necessity to be very innovative in order to be competitive with respect to other consortium, to other project proposals. So there are other person that want to take the word and say something about the methodology approach. I have some comments to do, but I would like to hear your comments. Someone want to react?
Can I just briefly add something? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jelena Jankic. I'm currently a fellow at the UI, and Luisa has kindly invited me to the project. So I kind of agree with Jörg that MLG needs something, a spin or something to make it more attractive for the purposes of this project. And I would also tend to agree that it wouldn't cover all of the project's aspects that have been introduced in the proposal that I've read, essentially. I'm not familiar with regulatory regionalism, but it seems to me as something that could be complementary. And I was wondering, to what extent are such projects essentially limited by a single approach? Because I think that by proposing something new, like a combination of approaches or even new methods, because for me at least, or maybe it's the branch of political science that I work on, an overall approach is one thing. The methodology is something slightly different. It's the tools that you use to implement the project, to get your findings, but kind of the overall approach can be broader and can combine different things, as well as the methodology. I think we just need to be a bit clearer on those issues. So that would be my first comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Elena. Other? Other comments? No? Okay, I agree with the idea to present an approach that combines different kinds of methodological elements. For example, I can send you an article of Paul Stubbs that I read in the last days, and he has done an article approaching the multi-level governance methodological aspects, considering how and if this approach is suitable in the case of Western Balkan countries. And he suggests to combine the multi-level governance approach with other two approaches that are policy transfer, and the second is one about politics of scale. And I found very interesting this article, and I will circulate to you these ideas. And probably it would be very important for us to work together in order to present, as I said, Jörg, a set of approaches explaining how they could be combined together, what are the complementaries between the different methodological aspects, what are the common elements, and this could be, on one side, a sort of innovation, and on the other side, it is very important in order to have together common ideas about conceptual, analytical frameworks that we should implement to the work packages. So my proposal is to create a small working group where, for example, Jörg or Jelena, myself, and Luisa or Enrico Milano, that he is here with us. We are in the University of Verona today, and we can exchange and work together on the document about the methodological approach. You know that this document is online, and so it's possible to everybody to insert comments and give suggestions in order to improve our approach. If you agree, in the next days, in the next weeks, I think, for example, that for the next meeting that we had at the end of January, we could rearrange this document and inserting your comments and your suggestions. It's okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, Jörg, Elena, myself, Luisa, and Enrico, we are part of this small working group, and we will work together for the next days and weeks to rearrange the document about the methodological aspects of our proposal. Okay? Luisa?
Just a comment. I think precisely as Jörg pointed, if we start looking at every single work package, what our ideas could be about it, we would find out where are the limits of this approach, if there are, and how to somehow compensate them. Because somehow we have to consider that multi-level governance or multi-level approach, we have to consider it nonetheless a general approach, an angle to look at the enlargement issue. But nonetheless, we have different methodologies because we have different disciplines. So lawyers, social scientists, economists will anyway apply different methodologies in their concrete work. So the idea was to have an angle, a common word, an overarching word that could somehow give the impression to be very original, and then, of course, elaborate on this originality together, as already Andrea is proposing. We have to do a big work to create some originality around this issue. But then, clearly, it remains a general approach. Then, methodologically, we will be more specific in the disciplinary terms and by looking at each working package. I can give you just one comment concerning the example Jörg made. For me, talking about the working package on geostrategy, how do you fit multi-level governance there? Probably it is not very orthodox, but it's clear that if you look in terms of soft power, all major external non-EU actors are very active in trying to penetrate the local public sphere at various levels, including, for instance, a very big work on the media. We have Al Jazeera, we have the Russians with their own television, we have the Americans with their own CNN. So this means that there is geostrategy using a soft power of non-EU actors. We could study. It's just a banal example, I'm sure. But it's probably by looking inside each topic that we will be able to extract what we want to study and the way we want to do it, if the overarching term is accepted. Otherwise, we can discard it and find a better one.
Okay, well, thank you, Luisa. And we go to the second point of our meeting, that is about the work packages. You know that we sent you an Excel file where you find the different work packages and the different partners, and what can be the competencies that each partner should indicate for each work package. And well, we are thinking about and trying to reconstruct the work packages. So there is obviously now, and I think also in the next weeks, the possibility to improve our structure. For example, I have tried to design the different work packages. I have here a short. Possiamo prenderlo? Yes. Oh, okay. With new techniques.
Okay.
Difficult. Yeah, and it's not simple.
I'm not so sure that
We read, however, no, it's not possible. However, this was a design that we have made this morning in order to exchange. However, the proposal, you know, is composed by different work packages. The first work package is about an analysis of European Union relationships with the different countries of the Western Balkans. And here the major topic is the conditionality that European Union is applying to the different countries of this area. And the second work package is about the analysis on the different relationships that are linking the European Union with the Western Balkan countries in terms of economic, social, and scientific relationships. The third work package is about macro region. And then we have the work package 4 about the strategic powers, other strategic powers that are present in the area. We mean Turkey, Russia, USA. And then the final work package is about a critical assessment and policy recommendations for the European Union in order to improve the strategy of enlargement in the area of the Western Balkans. And there are other work packages that are needed in the case of the research project, that are the management work package. Another very important in terms of impact is the dissemination work package. And we are thinking about the possibility to insert a new work package that is on structuring a common methodology and about the possibility to do some training and mobility of a researcher among the different partners of this project. This work package should be very important in order to improve our common approach in implementing the research, in exchanging our competencies in methodological aspects. And in doing this work, we need some training among us, but inviting also external experts that may be very useful for implementing the research, and giving also the opportunity of mobility to our younger researchers, for example. So in this case, we should have 8 work packages. 8 work packages. In our meeting now, it's necessary that you give us some idea, indication, about what work packages should be very important for you, and if there are someone that would like to be the leader, the coordinator of the work package, and in this case, he or she should take the responsibility to write a proposal of the work package, a short proposal. Obviously, you know that in the scheme of the proposal, no more than 1 page is dedicated to each work package. And another idea is about the work package 2. The work package 2 is on its analysis of economic, social, and political relationships between Western and Balkan countries, between them and with the European Union. In this work package, our proposal is to imagine country case studies, because, for example, in the last meeting that we had, someone of you said about the necessity to have also a national point of view, in the sense that the realities of Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Albania, and so on, are very different. And we have to assume a country case study approach. So countries take case studies approach, and then transversal case studies, in the sense that we have some topics that are transnational. For example, in the case of scientific cooperation and mobility of researchers, that you know, in the call of the European Union, in the Horizon call, it's very important. So we have the necessity to have a transversal case study on scientific cooperation. Another topic that is transnational is about migration, people and migration. And another economic topic that is very transnational is about trade, investments, and financial flows. So also in this case, we can imagine a transversal case study approach. Well, these are some ideas that we gathered this morning between us before this meeting, and that we propose to you. So the debate is open, and please take the floor and tell us what you are thinking about. We make a round. We begin with.
Okay, can I start?
Please.
Yes.
Can I start? Okay.
Please.
Yes, I would like to participate in working package 1 and 2. I think that's where I can have more expertise to give to the project. In the country study cases in working package 2, maybe Macedonia, because I work a lot on this country, on my research, and that's one that I know well. But I can participate also regarding Serbia. I can have here more participation, maybe.
Teresa, we are not sure we understood well. You said you would participate in 1 and 2 as working package. Is that correct?
Yes, the first one and second.
Okay. Only, nothing else.
Sorry, I didn't first.
No, nothing else. That's
yes,
all.
Of course. I sent you an email yesterday saying where I can participate more, in which working package And also
sorry, Teresa. The request is addressed to those that did not send it. Of course, not to you.
Okay, sorry.
As comment, but you can anyway share the information with the other. But only very few of you commented on the working package, so we didn't make the difference. So forgive me. But for sure, you want to comment on other things, generally speaking, beyond only mentioning working packages.
Yes, regarding methodology that we spoke about, I think that the project is going okay because the framework is strong enough to cover all the issues that are in the call. And it must be very clear. We can put another approach and another things, but we must be clear what regarding what you want, because that is important to the overall of the project. So if we are going to put more things here and other methodologies, that must be very, very clear. So. Because they are not going to, they must read this and understand what we want. I agree with York, I think, regarding the concepts of conditionality and socialization, because there are already many works about this, and I'm a little worried seeing that we have a strong focus on these two concepts again. If we could try to arrange some other things to make this stronger, it will be very good for us, because conditionality and socialization, everyone talks about this, so we must be innovative regarding, I think, these two concepts. How? I don't know. I can think about this. All of us can think about this. Trying to be innovative, because of course these two concepts are very important in all the policy strategy and policy of the EU, of course. But we must try to give something new. I don't know what, but this is the part that is worry for me. That makes me concerned about this. The other things, it's okay. You have put here all things very like a puzzle. So it seems understandable why we choose multi-level governance. So it is okay. The two concepts, they are important, of course, but if we could say something innovative regarding this, I will be happier. I'm going to think about this in the Christmas.
No, but before we spoil your holidays and mine as well, you might be the right person to reply to York in what is how can we use multi-level governance to tackle the first working package. So maybe you have more reasonable examples than mine.
Yes, I have already studied a lot of civil society, how civil society reacts to the conditionality, and so on. How this country reacts also to the funds, economic funds from the EU, especially regarding Croatia, Macedonia, and Serbia. I usually work with these three countries, but I like more Macedonia. I don't know why. I think because it has problems, ethnic problems, and other kind of situation. It's different from the others. You said, Andrea, that they are very different. They are, yes, and they respond differently to the strategy and policy. So we must take that in count. I think the country studies are the best way to deal with it. It's my opinion. I can write about this because it's easier for me, and then I send to Luisa and to Andrea. Regarding the working package 1 and 2, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to write about this, and then I'll send to you how I think that could be a good idea to work this working package.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Teresa. Other speakers?
I'd like to add something, but I see here a message that Arolda has written on the side that she would like to add something on the packages. I don't know, Arolda, can you speak?
Okay, we might have to expel some of you before, so just give me 1 second, and well, the voice, we can see Arolda, so it's strange that she cannot talk.
Yeah, she sent another message saying that her voice doesn't come.
So as maybe just like last time, it might be a problem of Arolda, not of ours. Maybe you have a problem in the computer, Arolda, that you did not allow your microphone to go out. I will try to. Dobbiamo essere in grado di facciamo fuori uno di loro per far entrare gli altri, no? Dov'è? Allora, dovrebbe esserci un'iconcina qui che mi concede di cancellare. Io qua non la vedo.
Ecco il tasto destro.
Just a second, it seems easy. Sì, ma forse devo cacciare fuori uno per fare. Arolda, you should be able to speak. I don't know why we don't. Can you try it again?
I'm trying, but you can go on, and I will follow up.
Now we hear you very, very
We hear you.
far away.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And I think it is a problem of yours. You should work out with your own microphone. In the meantime, can Yanela take the floor?
As for the work packages, let me just open them here so that I have it all in front of me. I'm from the ones that you have here, but if I understood correctly, you're planning to have some more, right? Up to 8 working packages, if I understood well. I'm very happy to work on the first work package. Also, I mean, obviously the case of Montenegro, but I've worked on pretty much all the Western Balkan states in different areas. And obviously on the fourth working package. Now, what I would be interested in discussing a bit more with you is the essential structure of the work packages. What are they conducive to? So why are we looking at those things and not at others? And I think that this could essentially be our claim to originality or our claim to some sort of innovation. Because to a certain degree, similar to what Teresa said, there's quite a lot of things in there. And there's quite a lot of different things in there. So how do we justify looking at all of those things and not at some others, right? So what I perhaps, and maybe this is because I wasn't here at the first meeting, what I would like to perhaps see some more complementarity and coherence among the work packages, and especially the third one, which I think is something that everyone is emphasizing as an original working package, so scientific cooperation, etc., etc. But to me, it looks just a little bit disconnected from everything else, because if you start thinking about EU enlargement, conditionality, and education policies, well, that's the chapter that gets closed first in about 20 minutes in all countries that started negotiating, right? So I think that we kind of need to rethink maybe not the very structure of packages, but the way they relate to each other and the way they relate to the topic that we would like to study. But maybe these comments are just because I wasn't here, and if you've discussed this previously, just forget about this.
You are touching a problem, a real problem. And from one side, on one hand, we need to respond to the call of the European Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to take the key issues that are very clear in the description of the call. So we took the key issues, the key words of the call.
Mm-hmm.
We constructed this proposal of work packages around these keywords.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, the proposal, the contents of the call are presented in a very traditional and geopolitical approach. And this is the problem, that is, how to merge what wants the European Commission with this traditional approach based on a classical international relation theory with some innovations that we have to put into the proposal. I think that from the point of view of an evaluator, what they would like to read is, on one side, a proposal that respond to the call of the European Commission, respond to the keywords and to what is asking the European Commission. So these keywords should be very clear, wrote written in the proposal. On the other side, some innovations, and the innovations, I think that the part that should be most important is about the methodology. In the methodology, we should be very innovative. In the work package, that is a proposal of the structure, we probably could be more we could be more near to what the European Commission want in terms of key issues and keywords. Otherwise, we should write a very different structure of the work package, but the evaluator could not understand what does it mean in respect to the questions that the European Commission put forward in the call of the proposal. So we have to match innovation and keywords and key issues that asked the European Commission through the call. This is what I understood.
And maybe this was the effort from the very beginning to use the term multi-level as an overarching term to create homogeneity and coherence, and then unpack it by looking at different aspects. So again, it might be useful if you say, by looking at my field of interest, working package X, we could develop and coordinate a group, or could simply develop an idea that tackles, for instance, the issue of scientific exchanges, this and this way. And it would be good if you start putting meat in the discussion by proposing your way to address the issue, the problem.
Can I add an idea? Yes, just an idea. Coming back to something that Andrea said earlier, and that is related to the country case studies. I think the call is quite explicit that the research should adopt the perspective of the examined countries. So I think one way that could be possible to both respond to the call by using the keywords and issues that are in the call and that the evaluators can recognize clearly, and at the same time be innovative, is to say, okay, we take the MLG framework as a starting point, but we approach it from the perspective of the countries to be examined. And we assess whether the MLG framework, which is something that was created in a different context, somewhat, is actually useful to understand the Balkan countries. And if not, what other frameworks could be useful instead, or to modify the MLG framework. And in this context, the work package that Andrea suggests on research and mobility could precisely be used to foster that exchange, that dialogue around how useful is the MLG framework to understand what's going on in the Balkans and what is the position of the Balkan countries towards European integration in the first place. Just an idea that came to mind, but it's one way that we could show innovation too, because more and more, especially in international relations, there's a big debate about how everything is to be understood or not on the basis of theories that were really developed to describe and understand relations between countries in Western Europe and North America, and that is definitely not appropriate or adequate or sufficient.
Okay, thank you, Jörg. And other comments? Adrian?
No,
no, Adrian is not here.
Arolda, could you find a way to use your volume? No. Davide?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the comments. I had participated to the drafting of the general approach methodology. So I need to take up a couple of points from what all of you have just said. The first one concerned whether the approach could fit all the required topics, including those more based on traditional IR theories, geopolitics, etc. And on this, I would reply affirmatively, in the sense that I think that in multi-level governance and in this approach, we can fit the relations, the influence of third countries, third powers, both in the traditional sense of interstate relations, say the visit of Putin to Belgrade a couple of weeks ago, and also those relations which are less traditional but based more on both civil society relations and decentralized relations. And we could take different examples from the presence of the media, of that kind of soft power, to even how third powers try to push for more or less centralization in carrier countries. And I just think about the budget support from Russia to Republika Srpska as a first example. So on that, I would be quite confident that we can fit it and we can justify it theoretically. On what Jelena was saying just a few minutes ago. I agree that we should work a bit more on the coherence between the theoretical approach and the working packages in their content and in the way that they are structured. And I agree with Andrea that it's important that we put out clearly the keywords for the evaluators. But I think that working on it, we can make it so that it also looks theoretically coherent. And again, looking at the way that the working packages are structured now, we have the first one, which is on the relations between the EU and each country of the Western Balkans, a second between the countries themselves, and then the macro regions. Somehow I think we can structure these in relations to the overall approach, so that it looks not only what the Commission had asked us to do, but also something which complies with the theoretical approach. I can try to work a bit more on this and maybe make some comments to the draft online.
Great. This would be great. And by the way, I really have to thank you once again publicly for having contributed the most to our first draft. Then I picked only partially your work in order to combine different sensitivities, but at the same time, you certainly so far were the most helpful. So please continue. And if you can, you already did in your first draft mention already a few examples of working packages and content of them. Maybe we could elaborate further altogether. One question for everyone is, did you ever access the file online so that you can start adding comments, or do you need me to show you how to go to the shared document and use it? Did you ever see the document on the shared document?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you can comment on that. You know that.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. Good to know. Certainly, the first request is to put an X on X in the file concerning working packages. That was easy to do. Please do it, so that we will be able to know anyway where you place yourself. Yes. Enrico is suggesting that we finish the round. So my problem is that yes, for working packages. My problem is that I cannot expel people and let other people enter the group. So there should be a Rolda that.
Do you hear me now?
Very softly.
Yeah.
Very far.
No, so you cannot hear me. Okay.
Yes,
Yes, you
now
can hear
a
me.
bit better. Screen, please.
Now.
So you hear me now? I don't understand.
Yes.
Oh, you hear me? Okay, so
Yes.
can I speak now? Is it good enough to speak?
Roughly.
Okay. Can you be?
Please continue like you did before. Put the microphone very close to your mouth.
Okay, so is it good?
Yes, it's good.
Okay, so I will say something about the competition that we will face. We know that there is a huge project on enlargement going on at the office of the Freie University from Tanya and Riese and Shimel Fenning. So actually all the big guys working on enlargement are involved there. And for sure they will jump in this project as well. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that I think these guys have got everything on enlargement so far, all possible projects. So we know the competitor. Now we have to have a strategy. I'm putting it in rough terms, right? So these guys, and actually what I think is the problem with enlargement literature so far, and why it doesn't work to understand Balkan cases, is that they have this top-down conditionality sort of approach, and they are the guys actually who did a lot on multi-level governance. Because there was, you know, also that there was a huge project on multi-level governance coordinated by EUI. Are you aware of that? Adrien Héritier was the head of that, and I worked with that project. So it's actually not true that multi-level governance has not been used in the enlargement framework. It has been used, but I think it has not been used very well, and it has been used, as someone here said, according to what we know on the good Western European cases. So you have to have a civil society, you have to have a strong state, you have to have good administration, and then everything in the multi-level governance approach works perfectly well, right? And for sure, these guys will also use multi-level governance approach. And they probably have much better publication and much more sophisticated theoretical tools that we can have. So what we can provide and what can be the added value of this project, since we are also involving universities from the region and so, is to bring more the specificity of the Balkan region and operationalize it. So theorize this specificity. Am I clear so far?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I think this is, you know, we have to theorize, and we cannot say, because that's also the problem with the Balkan-oriented literature so far. All people do empirical research, and no one theorizes the issue. So then the big guys who theorize it go on with their top-down approach. So we have these sort of detached literatures. We have perfect theoretical explanations which do not work for the Balkan cases. And then we have empirical research, mostly from people in the region, but also young researchers who actually do not theorize. So what the project can, what we can do is theorize this specificity that are actually sort of coming up, but in a very individual work, case-based research, not comparative work, not very well not very well done systematic studies, and works that are not published in high-impact journals, and so they don't attract attention. So now my alternative to that. I explained a bit what I think about these detached literatures and how we should frame our added value. So what is my concrete solution? For sure, as I see in the theoretical paper that you send us, there is very little on Balkans themselves there. So actually, we are competing with big guys exactly in their own terms. And that's not how we can win the competition. We have exactly the working packages that Tanya and Frank Schimmelfenning and Zedelmeier will have. Actually, we have exactly the same working packages that another project which I'm involved in, not in this framework, which is at Graz University is having. So we have some kind of project on how to push the Europeanization of the Western Balkans region, and they will for sure compete. They are also preparing, I guess, an application for this project as well. We are working with exactly the same packages: socioeconomic factors, EU approach, and it's again we are analyzing the same factors in the same way, the same approach. No one is taking into account how these cases are very different. For sure this has to be incorporated in the theoretical framework, and there is very little in the theoretical framework or very little literature review at least. So we should have the literature review first in order to come with innovations about what we know by now on Balkan cases being sort of, difficult cases, cases that all are have not advanced. Before coming to they not advancing in the path of EU, they are very backward in terms of socio-economic development. They are not proper states. The EU has different instruments there. They don't have public administrations. All these factors have to be operationalized differently. So it has to, we have to have a much better literature review in the theoretical framework based on, the literature that is emerging on Balkan cases. So let's forget about what Shimel Fenning has been doing. Let's forget about what Tanya has been doing. Let's forget about Adrien Heritier has been doing. Let's also see what these cases on the Balkans are doing, people working and coming up with very little explanations are doing. So it has to be incorporated in the literature, in the theoretical framework first, that kind of literature. Second, I think we can come up with at least a couple of different packages focusing exactly on these factors that we want to focus on. One of them being stateness. So all Western European countries are perfect states. Here, we don't have even a consensus on who we are, right? We don't have, like at least 3 or 4 cases, have problems of coming up with a consensus of, who are the we? What to do with this lack of consensus? How the EU can negotiate it or not? Who can help them to negotiate the we-ness? So one particular package can be on this, what is the issue of stateness? How it changes everything about these cases. Another particular working package. Am I clear so far?
Yes.
Or am I...
Yes.
Yes. Another, which I would suggest also based on my is, these cases and can make I think our project really also timely, is the Muslim issues. There is a lot, all these countries are also at least 3 Muslim majority. Most of them have a lot of, have huge Muslim populations. Actually, I'm working on that now, and I would be interested, but I also think it's an interesting way to make the project more timely, to relate it with bigger issues which have never been analyzed in the Europeanization literature, because they are new and because I think actually most of the people who work on the enlargement never went to these countries. So that can also be something that we can consider, how these Muslim populations really see Europe. Do they like it? Don't they like it? Are they a supportive factor or so? That would be something very innovative and quite timely. Another thing which again, relating to the literature and whom we are competing with, everyone has been looking at political parties. And actually the EU deals with political parties. Or political parties are governments. But that's what we know, that all political parties in the Balkans keep changing names, but keep changing names and strategies. For example, in Serbia, the reformists now are former ministers in the Milosevic regime, right? These guys have become the reformists. So if we would rely on the existing literature, we would expect these guys, and they actually all like EU, they all say that, oh yeah, we are for the EU. They all do a lot in legal terms, but then somehow, you know, things remain in between and things don't change. So, you know, we are in this situation when a lot of things change, but things remain the same. So, how to challenge this focus of existing research on political parties and governance? And actually, I think the multi-level governance has good tools to expand this array of actors. It's not political parties who are making any change. Political parties in the Balkans are all corrupt, largely corrupt, all involved in the same networks. Again, to put in very tough and short terms, right? We can see, I mean, who is and who is not. But by and large, reformists and non-reformists are corrupt. Reformists and non-reformists are part of the former communist networks. You couldn't create a party if you were independent and autonomous. You know, Djindjic was killed. If they were not killed, they were killed politically. So usually, you know, who won the game is these guys that are immersed into certain networks. So if you look at the parties, we end up looking at the same thing. It's other actors that are actually doing, I believe, also in the terms, in all the cases that I analyzed, in all sectors I analyzed, if you look at public administration, it's not political parties doing big changes. It's civil society, it's independent actors within the state. So again, independent state capacities, autonomous institutions, it's the constitutional courts. It's independent guys within the judiciary who arrested Sanader. It will not be political parties arresting themselves. It will be independent judiciary who will arrest them and, you know, change the terms of the game. So we have to see other than political parties and what they are doing concretely in specific areas. So that's a bit, I will not monopolize the discussion further. That's my, you know, another thing. Like, let's go further than political parties. Again, I mean, we have to justify it vis-a-vis the existing literature, but everyone will look at the political parties, and that's the easy way out. But in the Balkans, they explain nothing.
Harolda, just one comment. What I'm not sure of your argument is whether you want to change working packages or not. Because if I understand you well, you seem to say, fine with the multi-level governance, let's contribute to the analysis of enlargement in the region by having a grasp on the very empirical literature coming from the region, theorize from it, and be able to add to these general theories which emerge from Western experiences, so to give a real contribution to enlargement with this very in-depth knowledge of local cases and local contexts. If this is a good summary of your point, is your suggestion, in your view, we should discard the advice we were given to respect the keywords for the working packages, or you are okay that we stick to what we were told, like leave the keywords, because this helps evaluator to understand what is your point, but let's introduce in our approach, theoretical approach, a very fundamental an added value, theorizing from empirical cases, trying to take from empirical cases elements that contribute to a reformulation to multi-level governance, so as to make it useful for the Balkans and to balkanize it. Like, leave me the terrible word.
So, I mean, I have one academic answer and one pragmatic answer to your question. My academic answer would be, let's discard multi-level governance and let's discard the big guys, right? In the real world, I don't think that's a good answer Is it, you understand? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
So the
in
good
the
answer
real
is,
world, we should not do that because the reviewers will most probably be also one of these big guys and people who have know nothing but the multi-level governance literature. Anyway, I think there are a lot of theoretical tools to use from the multi-level governance. So my suggestion is to combine multi-level governance to get the tools and to bring in specific cases, empirical research done on the Balkan case.
okay,
So
I
to
fully.
merge.
I think it's a very
Merge the
good
two.
strategy, considering that very many researchers in this group have a very strong understanding of local cases, and
Exactly.
some of you have very strong understanding of the literature. So we could really give a contribution to bringing from the grassroots the literature to the Commission and somehow talk a language that they can speak by giving in-depth knowledge a space, which is not generally a standardized knowledge of how to standardize social sciences, rather than the other way around, balkanize social sciences. Okay. Concretely, I
Not a
think
good
it could,
idea.
yeah, the good thing I think would be nonetheless as a step forward in this discussion would be that each one of you start by sending a few lines, pages, or whatever you want, stressing, starting from working packages, stressing how this can be done. Ideas, maybe they are not coordinated, but because we cannot talk to each other in person, this is a necessary step. So we share our ideas how to combine multi-level governance, these working the way they are, with a very in-depth knowledge of literature from the field. And then I'm sure the second step will be a more advanced approach to multi-level
Lily,
governance, balkanized multi-level governance.
can I correct you there? Because I think, sorry, no, not correct. Like I want to make my point. So when saying that we should merge the two literatures, I'm not only saying that we should merge this top-down EU level research with simply case studies.
No,
There
no, no,
is a
no.
lot of research on post-communist
No, I
variables.
understood you well. I think I understood you well, which is
Yeah. So
let's,
not only case studies, but more transition informed,
yeah, the idea is
these
we,
which are very well theorized as well. I mean, people in the US, I mean, there are huge departments working on transitions, post-dictatorial transitions, and the Europeanization research doesn't even know that this literature exists.
my
Or
idea,
like,
Aralda, my idea, I agree. I think I understood you well, which is let's take from a grassroots knowledge, from a knowledge of the field, and re-elaborate multi-level governance, so that we theorize by knowing the context and proposing an approach which is original because it shows an in-depth knowledge of the field and has an original idea on how to study it and how to give political advice, because we have to end up with policy advice anyway. So the step that you suggested, which is theorized, starting not from multi-level governance, but starting from the characteristic of the context towards multi-level governance.
Can I jump in just
Yes.
once more quickly?
Please.
I have like two things, perhaps pragmatic ones. I've just opened the Horizon 2020 what's the name? Working paper. And what seems to me is that the working packages, as we have them in our Google document, are virtually taken from the scope of the action. And I understand the need to combine, to use the keywords. And I know what Andrea meant by saying, yes, we need to use those keywords, but I think we need to be consistent there. So I just think we need to think of a, I don't know, of an overarching topic, of something that kind of relates all of these things. Otherwise, it's going to be just like as if we've copied it from the work program and the reviewers are going to discard it. So that's one thing. And to that end, it may be useful to try and get a hold of some sample applications from previous years, whether successful or unsuccessful, so that we get inspired and learn from good and bad examples on how to do an application and how not to do it, because I think that not many of us have experience with that. The third thing is what Arolda said and what Luisa was just saying. Perhaps I mean, and this is something that's in the proposal already, but we could bring it up. We could just highlight it, is to look at the perspective in those countries and start from there. And perhaps, I don't know, if people are studying conditionality, we can study the limits of conditionality and try and explain the limits of conditionality by looking at what happens in the countries, not what happens at the EU level, or something like that. So perhaps take the kind of the grassroots approach, so bottom up instead of what's been done so far, which is the top-down approach. And I think Davide made that point in the proposal already, but I think that we should just kind of try and keep emphasizing that, because that's where originality is.
I agree.
Okay, great. I definitely need, let's say, the first document was just a way to find a common ground around one term, which was this multi-level governance. It was not a very elaborated document. It was a very, very basic one. To agree that there was meat, trippa per gatti, meat for cats, as we say it in Italian. There was a ground on which to start working. Now I think we have to make the exercise of entering each working package, whatever we define them, and start with a few very, very drafts, discussing together and sharing ideas on how to discuss all this, looking from the countries, and then I think from the discussion of each working package, I think we can rework on the field, increasing balkanized multi-level governance, meaning that we propose a general framework of analysis which is very much informed of the local context, and add to the theory elements that are useful to understand the grassroots or the context. But I do think I insist I need to start seeing things like more short text from each one of you, where you say, well, look, I would start studying this and this way because of this, and that, and then we can make a step forward in our discussion. That I think is a necessity.
Yes, I reaffirm what I said before, that I agree that we need to be, as said, Arolda, to be alternative, to not to replay what others are doing as proposal, as a top-down approach through the multi-level governance and so on, because we have to risk to make a proposal that others are better to put forward, because this is what they are doing. in the last years with their research. So we should be alternative. In this sense, I think that we should propose a scientific and methodological approach that is different. And I agree the sense to be more bottom-up and enhancing the empirical analysis that Balkan researchers are doing on the field, and in order to change the approach. On the other hand, I have seen, and I am working in a research project financed by the 7th program, and the work package organization. I reaffirm that it should take the keywords of the call. Where we should be innovative and alternative is the approach. But considering the approach, the structure of our work, we should take into consideration the keywords of the call. In the description of the work package, we should take the innovative elements of the methodology in order to explain what we consider to be the main topics inside the work package. These topics should be different from the other proposal that other consortium are putting forward. Other point? And please, I would like that also, for example, Arolda or Yelena could make a part of the working group that we are doing on the methodology. Because I agree with Arolda that is, we should take into consideration what Balkan researchers are doing in their countries. But obviously, we need to know what they are doing. So the empirical research that they are implementing, what are these researchers? And what are the main messages that we should consider for reframing the theoretical and methodological approach? So we need your information about this.
Yeah, Elena, for instance, you said we should look at the limits of to give more elements. We could, I think, looking at multi-level governance, one by looking at local level finds easily the limits of decentralized government, local governments, for instance. By local meaning not sub-national state level. So there, one probably has a lot to contribute in showing the limits of Europeanization process where local governments are terribly weak, or the other way around. So in that, I do think that it must be an inductive way deductive way to proceed. So from a number of examples, or each of us can give to what they think could be studied in an interesting way, that we will then return to a general approach of theory that includes the specificity of the region as suggested by Arolda. We are having problems with the people that are not now talking in the chat, and I don't understand why, honestly, because there are outside the group Cristina and Senada apparently, but they cannot intervene. The problem is that I cannot take you out, nor I can include them. Okay, Christine, you're there. Fine, great, incredible, but it worked. So, if Christina, who just now joined us, wants to, I don't know whether you could hear anything of the conversation or and what you want to add. Can you hear us, Christina? It is not very easy to work from distance. Technology helps, but not that much.
Christina, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you
Can
now.
you take the floor? Well,
Very good.
Ciao.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I just now I think I'm in the hangout. Yeah, I think it works. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes.
perfectly well, please.
Oh, very great. Okay, thanks. Thanks. Yeah, sorry, I'm not very good with all kind of technical issues, so I'm very happy now to join. So, my hellos from to everyone. Just I followed the discussion and I found it very interesting. I mean, I really have to go more to read more on the multiple level approach, really to comment on it. So this is something I have to go through again, and I think therefore I like actually the idea to start with the case studies. So I'm not sure because there is the expertise around in this group. There are several people working on different case studies, and my thought was, why are those people not trying to form subgroups like everyone who wants to work on Macedonia or Kosovo or Albania, that they might try to form a group to find out what the specific challenges, issues of the relevant case studies are, and then these could be compared to find out what kind of methodology or what kind of tools out the tools we found in the multi-level approach we would be able to use. So I like this bottom-up approach very much. The idea of having this new working package on methodology, I think is very interesting, because first of all, what's important for EU project is always this kind of dissemination and sustainability of whatever our results are going to be. So if we can say, okay, we have developed in this working package, a new approach to explain maybe enlargement, even for future case studies, this could be very much a positive, something very innovative for the European Union. So I think this was suggested to add this kind of this work package to the list of work packages we have so far. But the yeah, the for our university, I mean, I just put it up in on the Google account, I think. I mean, we have a lot of interests, but I mean, for us, I think the main approach or the main working package has to be the macro-regional strategy work packages. I mean, there is, first of all, the macro-regional strategies, but there is as well a lot of going on with regional cooperation in the Western Balkans. And I'm not quite sure if we can bring that in as well, because it's not only the macro-regional strategies which are which actually come from the European Union, from the center, and are going to be implemented from Brussels, you could say. I mean, of course, with huge support by some of the countries. But then there is regional cooperation. Okay, was a condition as well from the European Union, but maybe these kind of forms of cooperation are already questioning the issues of stateness. And I think the issue of stateness is important, because if you look at EU enlargement, where the EU, Brussels, is negotiating with the the government of the relevant countries. So what does it mean then if regions come in and even cross-border or transnational aspects are going to be strengthened? So what I want to say is actually quite, just to sum it up, it's that I think this bottom-up approach is very interesting. We just have to find a way to to bring the right people together, because we are actually quite a number of people, and I think we are not quite sure who works on what or who is interested to work on what. Maybe the case study people can come together. For Androgy University, we would like to focus mainly on the macro-regional strategies, but as well Professor Bose, who is going to work in the frame of the project. She's an expert on Russia, for example, so she has expressed a huge interest to work on the Russian case studies, or Russia case study. And yeah, I think that's it from my point of view. So there's some comments, but I found it very interesting. I found the discussion very interesting now, because there's really something new happening and new ideas coming in, which I think are going to make a good proposal in the end. So congratulations to arranging everything. Very, very well done. And all the technology, I'm hugely impressed.
Christina, thank you in particular for the encouragement, because there is always some depression that takes over, like we will never make it. But I think it's only a question, I guess, that all of us are terribly busy, and we have to find a space to devote to this draft, so that we can, by working in with many heads involved, we can advance on this proposal. My first, technically speaking, first of all, I want to fit with you the next meeting. It would be great if we could see each other in person, but if we don't, we will continue with this terrible technology. And our idea is that we fix another appointment for the just 20, no, 26, no, neanche. Yes, 26 January, same time, 2 and 2:30, and the same goes a month later for 25th February. So February the 25th, 25 February, 26 January, or 26 January, 25 February. These are the next two meetings we want to fix. From now to then, how do we proceed? It would be good that we divide in subgroups and start putting ideas in common. We could, there is this shared space where we can decide that each one of us share files with ideas, suggesting in different directions, and share it with some of the group or the rest of the group according to what you think is good to proceed. I certainly think it is advisable that each one of you put an X into working package section. There we still have to decide how do we face working packages. In the files, share files, we still have definition of working packages that are taken from the core, and we continue to use them in the shared file so far. I suggest to stick to that for the moment, not to reformulate working packages yet. I think we should stick to the original core, and then we might, by January, transform them if we find that a good idea. But once we are in a more advanced stage of elaboration. For the moment, we stick to the banal core division. So each one of you put X where they want to be, and possibly write to the other member of the groups saying where and what you would start contributing to in terms of writing. Bye.
By the way, Enrico Milano, University of Verona, we are hosting the high-tech meeting, but thanks to Luisa and Chiara's coordination and preparation. Really, from a very pragmatic point of view, if we, an organizational matter, we wanting to follow up to what Luisa was saying. Maybe we could aim at what is it now? Today's the 19th. Okay, before Christmas, so we have time until Wednesday to put an X. Okay, to put an X on the working packages. Okay, And then on the basis of your axis, we will try to manage a coordination whereby through we will do that. We decide how to do it, but we, myself, Andrea, Luisa, or Chiara, we will communicate which groups have decided to stick to which working package, and we will coordinate some small working groups. So we will put you in contact for working group, say 2, or working group 3, or working group 4. And then, of course, on the basis of that, we should aim at having some written piece by the 26th, Luisa?
No, I think we should work by from now onwards and then share
Yes.
it by.
Yes, but share it before.
1 week before.
1 week before. So yes, to share it by say 1 week before, by the 20th of January. Is that something that you think can be worked out?
Enthusiasm.
I see a great deal of enthusiasm on the other side. Or if you have alternative ideas, we really need to. Unfortunately, we also have the room is available for another 15 minutes, and we should 15, and we should find the right way to move forward.
If I can be very honest with you.
Yes. Who is speaking?
Yelena, I think that doing something in the next 4 weeks, drafting something is possible, but that something is going to be very rough because, as you know, holidays are coming. And in addition to this, each one of us has quite a few other obligations.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So let's cut ourselves some slack, so to say, and try and come up with some sort of a general idea without going too much into detail at this point into working packages. Because if we go into working packages now and then rework the approach and methodology later, we'll have to readjust the working packages, meaning doing the same job twice. So I would rather stick with what Luisa said, and in the next couple of weeks, we should, in a way, develop what we are actually doing. So perhaps everyone either comments on the draft that we have or exchange emails on how to move forward.
Yelena, I
Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, to be honest, I'm not very comfortable with making something very concrete by, say, the 15th of January. Because I don't think we are yet at that stage. That's it. I might be wrong.
We had a problem with a connection. My idea is to go beyond this very general first step, and by starting sharing comments on what has already been written, but also additional elements that you say. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You say, I want to work on macro-regional strategy. There, we could do this, this, and that. As adding new elements to our discussion, and then we will rework or a coherent text. But at least we advance from zero to a draft of each working packages. I'm sure this will be very useful. And on the other side, I think you already said, a number of you already said are ready to participate to the group rewriting or increasing the general concept. I think those of you who are available for that right after holidays will be working in the core group, making the first draft advanced. So by the end of January, we have a more advanced general approach and a few small drafts of each working packages. This, I think, is a realistic step that we could Any more concrete advice? So by Christmas, as a present, a mix, and then we come back to you, and you can start sharing documents on different working packages where you want to add elements, comments, information, approaches, literature, whatever you suggest would be good to put in common with others, with no major effort, with simply as a starting point.
Luisa, do you hear me?
Yes, please, Arolda.
Okay. I will send, because I was evaluator for one of this multilateral project. So I will send to you, and then you can distribute the winning case and the bad case.
Great.
Yeah, and then you distribute. Of course, these should not get out of the group because
okay.
I'm not supposed to send them. So, you should be very careful when distributing them.
Perfect. Great. Thank you very much.
So, but you will have the idea of how the conceptual framework of everything should be. So maybe that can also help us to coordinate the packages. This is just a technical thing because there's a lot of technicalities behind writing the winning project.
I understood you very roughly, but I think not necessarily everyone should read this, otherwise you waste a lot of time. Only a few of us read it, and we'll be more aware of
the
things.
The major coordinators.
Brava, yeah. What is important is that everyone starts drafting ideas on how you personally, as a team, want to proceed. This is fundamental for us to create working groups and make the general theory advance, okay? Did you take note of the date for the next meeting?
What
the date is not good for me, 26th of January.
For me, neither,
unfortunately.
Yeah. Probably not either.
We postpone it to Wednesday. It is going to be instead of 20.
28, fine. 28, yes.
It's fine.
28 is good for everyone?
Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
I have a conference 28th to the 30th. But I mean, you can go ahead and then I can either talk to Louise afterwards or something.
Ok, then we stick to Wednesday. Sì, aspetta, non mandava bene il 29. Il 30. Guarda, just a second, maybe if we find a date that is fine for everyone is best, which was maybe the 30th of January, Friday.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the 30th of February, sorry, January.
That's not gonna happen.
I am desperately tired. You don't know how much I need holidays now. Okay, Horizon is going to be held on the Friday, the 30th of January afternoon. For those of you who will join the discussion via web hangout. Instead, if you want to join, you're always welcome. As for the second meeting, then we have to postpone it a little bit, otherwise it's or not. Let me see. Then we leave the other one to the 23rd. Is that okay for you? 25th. February 25th, we can leave it?
26th
Yes.
February. Yes, okay.
Great. 30 dicembre, 30 gennaio, 25 gennaio. A whole mess. Forgive me.
Okay. Can you please send us an email?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Thank you so much. Enjoy your holidays.
Thank you very much.
We hope to see you soon.
Buona
Hopefully,
festa.
the European Union will cover us of money and we will meet very soon and regularly.
Okay.
Bye.
Holiday.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Holiday. Bye bye. Thanks.
È andato storto qualcosa sulla distanza. Su chi non c'era. Intervento per